Hi, in this video I'm going to demonstrate how to install a shade sail. Here you can see the shade sail, and I'm going to be attaching mine to a brick wall, and there you can see the plug. Now it's got a loop on it because you can see how easy it is to fit the turnbuckle. You don't have to use such big ones, you can use a lighter load. Then you will need some cables. These are 3mm cable that can handle 500 kilograms. Here are some hooks. You can use this type or you can use that type. And then to fasten the cables, you can crimp it using a ferrule. There's some ferrules, but then you will need a crimping tool. Otherwise, you can just use these rope clamps. Right, you'll need some basic tools, a hammer, measuring tape, pliers, something to cut the cable, a drill, a screwdriver or an automatic screwdriver. And then in my case, I've got some sprag because I'm going to fasten one side to a tree, and I'll demonstrate how I use the sprag in order to fasten the cable around the tree. Right, so in this installation, you can see I've got a wall here, and I'm going to pan the camera now. And here there's a tree. Right, so we have the shade sail on the ground. You can see the measuring tapes. I'm going to explain what they do now. I just want to show you where it's going to be mounted. Right, so here you can see I've got a wall here, and I'm going to attach to this wall. And there you can see the other end of the shade sail, and there's the tree. And we are going to attach it to this tree. This tree moves very slightly even in a high wind. Right, so what I recommend you do is you take three things that would originally be straight. Now there you can see I've got the measuring tape. What I've done is I've extended these measuring tapes right to the attachment points to see if the shade sail will hang correctly or if it's going to have creases in it. Right, if you have a look at that far end, you can see that by extending that measuring tape, it's gone past the wall. So that would mean that I'd have to move this shade sail so that both attachment points will be on the wall. As you can see, this side, on the left-hand side, the attachment point would be fine. But the short side there at the top of the picture is not fine. I'll have to move it. And here the attachment point by the tree would be fine. You can see that I've now moved the shade sail so that the attachment point is now on the inside of that wall and not right on the edge of the wall, because if you drill into right at the edge of a brick, you'll split the brick. Right, you can see that side is correct. Right, you can see the tree side is correct, and now it's time to drill in the attachment points. Right, now for the wall side, all I need to do is go vertically upwards and then drill at the highest point, or the point where it's suitable for this shade sail. Right, so this one would be drilled just under the roof, and on this side, this one will be drilled just under the roof and just above the gutter. Right, so we've measured 3 meters here. That means we're just under the rafters. Remember that you must have one side lower than the rest. So this is going to be my high side, and the other side there is going to be my high side, and then on the tree is going to be my low side. Now I'm going to use the wall plug. Right, so at this point you want to loosen this. Right, this is completely loosened. Just keep in mind that when you're drilling into the wall, never drill right here on the edge, because you'll just split the brick and it won't be strong. Also, don't drill right on the final brick. You see here I'm quite far down from the final brick. Before you drill in the wall, check that you're not drilling into any electrical lines. This electrical point is actually running this way, so I know here at the top we're safe. You can see my line from the tape measure. You see it's towards the edge there. So now all I do is I follow that vertically. Right, I've extended this one. Right, now all I'm doing is I'm going to measure this cable. Now, as you can see, this is the end of the shade sail, and the turnbuckle would end about here. So all I need is a short piece of cable. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this cable. And at this point, you can crimp it or you can use these cable clamps. So I'm going to use the clamps for now. All I do is I thread the wire through the loop there, and now I come around again. And there you can see. Right, if you would prefer, you could put one of these there just in case you want to change the shade sail at some point without having to open the clamp. So how this works is you open the side there, loop that like that, close the side. Right, and all I need to do is thread the cable like that. And I put the cable through the clamp. Right, now it's time to tighten it. I just take my pliers there. This is a number 7, and I just tighten these nuts. Right, now you can cut this shorter if you don't like the way this pigtail looks, and if you prefer you can also use a ferrule and then you can crimp it. I'm showing this method because most people do not have these tools. Now all I'm doing is I'm preparing the other side. Right, now I'm going to move to the other side. This side is complete. Right, this side is ready for hanging. Right, so I've just provisionally tightened it because I am going to shorten this cable. Right, I'm still going to tension this. I've just provisionally tightened it. Right, now you can use a gum pole to go in the ground, and then you'll use one of these eye bolts. You're going to drill through the wood, and the eye bolt will come out the side and you'll hook on. Now in this case we're not going to do the gum pole because we've got a tree right here, and this tree offers almost no movement. So I'm now going to show you how to attach it to this tree. Now as you can see, this is a solid tree, and you can see that there's a wall right behind it. If this tree is moving more than 10 centimeters, the shade sail is the least of your worries. Now I've chosen the tree as the lowest point of the shade sail, and the reason why you have to have a lowest point, if all attachment points are the same level, it's like a basket, and if there's hail it will then catch it and become very heavy. So you've got to have it at a bit of an angle, and also for aesthetic, for the way it looks, it's actually a bit better if it's at an angle. Right, so I'm going to use some electrical sprag. This is what you normally run electrical cables with. You don't have to use this, but I prefer to use this. It doesn't damage the tree and the cable doesn't wedge into the tree. Right, I just work out how much I need. Now all I need to do is spray paint this a darker color. Right, I'm just using some black spray paint. So this is going to go around the tree, then I'll thread it in here once I'm on the tree, and this side is going to be linked to here, which is going to be linked to here. Right, there you can see it's attached to the tree. There you can see the tree and the wall. There you can see it attached to the wall on the left hand side. You can see that I've tightened that turnbuckle slightly. You can see there's still a lot of tensioning that I can still do, and that's one of the reasons why I loosen the turnbuckle before installing the shade sail. Right, on the right hand side you can see the turnbuckle has been tensioned slightly, and there's the attachment point of the shade sail. Right, so there you see the shade sail. Right, there you see the shade sail from the side. As you can see, it's sloping to the side. The one side is lower than the other two sides. Here's the shade sail from underneath. So now what you do is you do another one, and in that case you put the gum pole in the plants. Here's another shade sail which I did at least 6 months ago, and you can see I've attached it to the tree and also onto the 2 brick walls. If you don't want to use a pole or a gum pole, the procedure is as follows. Dig a hole 500 by 500 millimeters. The depth must be at least 500. Then drop the pole in. Then put some sand. Make sure that about 10 centimeters of the gum pole is not immersed in the concrete. That means that you first dig the hole, you put the gum pole in, and you put the sand back of about that much. Then you will have your concrete which you will drop in there. The reason for that is the gum pole needs to breathe. If you don't do that, you're going to find that at the top of your hole, eventually it's going to rot here. So that's why you leave the bottom open. Then all you'll do is you'll get one of these eye bolts, and towards the top of the pole you'll drill through the center, and you'll use one of these eye bolts. And my advice is use much bigger washers than this. You often find these washers just get embedded into the wood. So all you'll do is you'll drill through here, you'll have the eye bolt, and you'll attach your shade sail over there.